The night was calm on the Space Research Station Helios 9, a small human outpost orbiting a silent blue planet far beyond known space. The lights in most corridors were dim, and the hum of machines filled the background like a quiet song. Dr. Adrian Wells, a human scientist in his mid-30s, sat alone in his cabin. He had been working for hours, surrounded by data screens, notes, and the faint glow of a small holographic image floating above his desk. It was the image of a woman, not a human woman, but an alien with soft silver skin and eyes that shimmered like starlight. Her face looked peaceful, almost familiar, though Adrian had never met her. He had found this image 5 years ago during a mission to Mars. A crashed alien probe had been discovered under the Martian dust, and inside it was this strange hologram. The moment Adrian activated it, something inside him felt connected. Since then, he had kept it near his desk, almost as a mystery that watched over him. He didn't know her name. He didn't know her world. But something about her calm expression and the human-like kindness in her eyes had always comforted him when he worked late at night. As he typed on his screen, running energy scans from the planet below, the ship's lights flickered for a moment. He frowned. "That's strange," and he muttered. Helios 9 systems were usually stable. He tapped a few keys, checking for a power surge. Before he could finish, a deep alarm echoed through the halls. Unauthorized docking detected. Adrian stood quickly, his heart racing. There were only 5 humans aboard Helios 9, and no scheduled ships were anywhere near this sector. He grabbed his communicator. "This is Dr. Wells. Control, do you copy? Who's docking with us?" No answer. Only static. The alarm grew louder and the lights turned red. Adrian ran through the narrow corridor toward the docking bay. The sound of metal doors sliding open echoed ahead. When he reached the airlock, he stopped dead in his tracks. Through the glass window, a small silver shuttle hovered close to the station. It wasn't a human design. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal and strange glowing symbols ran along its side. The shuttle connected to the station's airlock with a hiss. "Impossible," Adrian whispered. No known alien races had ever come this far. The inner door opened slowly, releasing a wave of cold air. A faint mist spread into the corridor. From inside the shuttle, a figure stepped out, tall, graceful, and glowing faintly in the red emergency light. It was her. The woman from the hologram. Adrian froze, unable to move. She looked exactly like the image, silver skin, bright eyes, long white hair that seemed to float like silk. Her steps were soft, almost weightless, and her expression was full of confusion and fear. For a moment, time felt frozen. She looked around the corridor, her gaze sharp but uncertain, as if she were seeing through a fog of memories. Then her eyes met Adrian's. Her lips parted, and in a soft, musical voice she spoke words he never expected to hear. "Where am I?" Her voice was calm but strange, her accent unlike any human speech. Adrian swallowed hard and took a careful step forward. "You're on Helios 9, he said slowly. "A human research station. We didn't expect visitors." Her eyes shifted toward the name badge on his suit. "Dr. Adrian Wells," she whispered, pronouncing it perfectly. He blinked in surprise. "You know my name?" She tilted her head slightly. "It is familiar. I have seen it before." Adrian's pulse quickened. "Seen it where?" She didn't answer right away. Her gaze wandered past him, through the open door behind into his cabin. Her eyes suddenly widened. Without warning, she brushed past him and entered his room. "Wait, stop," Adrian called, following her inside. She stood before his desk, staring at the floating hologram of her own face. Her hands trembled. Her breathing quickened. It was as if she were looking into a mirror of the past. Her eyes filled with something between sadness and confusion. Slowly, she turned toward Adrian. "Why?" she said softly, her voice trembling. "Is my picture in your room?" Adrian felt his mind spinning. Questions crashed into his thoughts like waves. He took a slow breath, trying to stay calm. "I found that image years ago. It was inside a crashed probe on Mars. I didn't know who you were. I didn't even know if you were real." She blinked, trying to understand. "Mars or the Red World. I have seen it. In dreams." Adrian stepped closer, his voice steady but gentle. "You've seen Mars in your dreams?" She nodded slowly. "I do not know why. I have never been there. But the sky, the dust, the cold wind, it feels like a memory that is not mine." Adrian's heart pounded faster. "What's your name?" She hesitated for a long moment, as if searching for an answer deep inside her mind. Finally, she whispered, "Lyra, Lyra," Adrian repeated softly. The name felt right, almost familiar, as if he had spoken it before in another life. Lyra looked down at her glowing hands. "How did you find me, human?" Adrian shook his head. "I didn't. You came to me." She looked around the room again, her gaze stopping at the hologram once more. "Someone wanted me to find you," she said quietly. "I can feel it," Adrian frowned. "Who?" "I don't know," she whispered. "But something inside me woke up when I saw your face. A signal called to me. I followed it across the stars." Adrian felt a chill run down his spine. "A signal? From where?" Lyra placed a hand on her chest. "From here," she said. "From my own mind." The silence between them felt heavy but full of hidden meaning. Outside the window, the distant planet glowed softly, covered in blue oceans and green storms. It was a beautiful world, but one that held secrets neither of them understood. Adrian finally broke the silence. "If you followed a signal, maybe our systems can trace it. I can help you find where it came from." Lyra's eyes softened. "You would help me?" "Of course," Adrian said. "You're the first of your kind we've ever met, and I think we're connected somehow." She studied his face quietly, her silver eyes reflecting the small holographic glow of her portrait. "You feel familiar," she said slowly. "Not by sight, but by something deeper." Adrian smiled faintly. "Maybe we were meant to meet." Before she could answer, the station's lights flickered again. The alarm voice returned, cold and mechanical. Energy anomaly detected. Unknown source approaching. Adrian quickly turned to the control panel. "Something's out there," he said. Lyra's expression changed instantly. Her calm face turned to fear. "They found me," she whispered. "Who?" Adrian asked, but she didn't reply. Instead, she looked at him with urgency. "You must hide. If they find you, they will destroy everything." Adrian shook his head. "No. Whoever they are, we face them together." Lyra stared at him, surprised by his courage. For a moment, her glowing eyes softened again. "Humans," she murmured, "always ready to stand even when they should run." Adrian smiled faintly. "That's who we are." The alarm grew. The alarms on Helios 9 still echoed through the narrow metal corridors. Red lights blinked like warning eyes, and the station systems crackled with static. Dr. Adrian Wells and Lyra stood together in the control room, staring at the large viewing screen. Outside, space shimmered with strange movements, small lights flickering in the darkness like ghosts. Adrian pressed several buttons on the console. "Station sensors are detecting something," he said, his voice tight. "But it's not a ship. Not any kind we know." Lyra moved closer, her eyes glowing faintly. "They are searching," she said softly. "They followed me here. Who are they?" Adrian asked again, trying to keep his voice calm. Lyra's gaze remained fixed on the screen. "The ones who destroyed my world," she whispered. "They do not speak names. They erase them." Adrian turned to look at her. The glow of the red emergency lights made her silver skin look like polished metal. Her eyes reflected both fear and sadness. "You said your world was destroyed," he said gently. "Can you tell me what happened?" Lyra shook her head slowly. "My memories are broken. I remember the sky burning. I remember cities falling into the sea. I remember sleeping for a very long time. And then I saw your face." "My face?" Adrian asked, surprised. "Yes," Lyra said. "In my dreams. You were calling me. I followed the voice through the stars. That voice brought me here." Adrian frowned and tapped a few keys. "You said you followed a signal. Maybe that's what you heard. If it came from this station or from me, it could explain why you found Helios 9. Lyra watched the holographic maps appearing on the screen. Lines of data, energy trails, and signal patterns danced in the air. "There," Adrian said suddenly. "There's a faint energy frequency near our station, some kind of repeating code. It matches your ship's signal pattern." Lyra leaned forward, her expression focused. "That code, I know it. It feels like my heartbeat." Adrian glanced at her, fascinated. "Then it's something biological. Maybe it's connected to your DNA." Lyra touched her chest, feeling the faint pulse beneath her skin. "If it is, then it means I was made to find you." Her words sent a strange shiver through Adrian. Made to find him? That didn't make sense, and yet the evidence around them pointed to something deeper, a connection that couldn't be explained by chance. "Lyra," he said carefully, When we scanned your blood earlier, the system showed something strange. Your DNA, it's almost human. She looked at him in silence for a moment. Almost? Yes, about 98%. The differences are small but important. Your people, wherever they came from, they might share a common origin with us. Lyra's eyes widened. You mean, I am part human? Adrian nodded slowly. It's possible. There were old Earth missions long before I was born. Missions that sent genetic material into deep space. Some scientists believed life could be shared across the stars. Lyra walked toward the window, her reflection shimmering against the dark view of space. Then your people created mine. Adrian hesitated. Maybe not intentionally. Maybe it was just exploration. An experiment lost in time. Lyra turned back to him, her expression calm but her voice trembling. If that is true, then my world suffered because of your creation. The words hit Adrian like a heavy blow. Because of us? Yes, Lyra said. The destroyers came for the origin. They wanted to know who made us, where we came from. We could not tell them. They burned our skies to silence us. For a long moment there was only the hum of the machines. Adrian sat down slowly, feeling guilt and confusion twist inside him. I didn't know, he said quietly. No one on Earth remembers such missions. It was ancient history, lost records, forgotten names. Lyra's expression softened slightly. You could not know. But now that I am here, they will come for you too. Adrian looked up at her. Then we'll stop them. Lyra shook her head. You cannot fight what you do not understand. Then I'll understand it, he said firmly. We'll find out who they are, why they're chasing you, and how you are connected to us. She studied him in silence for a moment. There was something in his eyes, a quiet strength she didn't expect. Humans were smaller, weaker than many alien races she had seen before, yet their determination burned brighter than any star. Finally, she nodded. Very well. We search together. Adrian smiled faintly. Deal. Over the next few hours, the two of them worked side by side in the lab. The station lights returned to normal and the alarms faded into silence. On the main table lay several samples of Lyra's blood, glowing faintly under scanning beams. Adrian moved between devices, analyzing data while Lyra watched curiously. You trust your machines, she said softly. They help me understand, Adrian replied. Science is how we learn truth. Lyra tilted her head. On my world, we learned through memory and song. Knowledge was not written but sung to children so they could never forget. Adrian smiled. That's beautiful. Maybe we humans should have tried that. Lyra looked around at the blinking lights and quiet hum of the station. Your world must be full of machines. It is, Adrian said. But sometimes I think we built too many of them and forgot to listen to ourselves. Lyra's eyes softened. Perhaps that is why I was sent to remind you. Adrian looked at her puzzled. Sent by who? Before she could answer, the lights dimmed again. The control panel flickered. A mechanical voice filled the air. Incoming transmission detected. Adrian turned quickly. From where? Unknown origin, the computer replied. The screen flashed. Lines of alien symbols appeared, unreadable but filled with power. Lyra stepped closer, her hands shaking. That's their language, she whispered. The destroyers. Adrian's fingers flew over the controls. Can we block it? Lyra grabbed his wrist. No, listen. The symbols changed, forming strange wave patterns. A deep sound filled the room like a chorus of machines whispering. Then through the noise a voice spoke, a voice both human and alien at once. Return the creation. Return what is not yours, Adrian's breath caught. They're talking about you. Lyra looked pale, her glow fading slightly. They know I am here. Then we move fast, Adrian said. We can't stay on this station. They'll track the signal. Lyra shook her head. No, we must first find the source of my dreams. The answer is here. Someone sent the image to you for a reason. Adrian hesitated. You think the hologram, the one I found years ago, is connected to all this? Yes, Lyra said. It is a key. Maybe it carries a message from whoever made me. Adrian turned toward his desk where the holographic image still floated. He activated it again and the soft silver face appeared. But this time something was different. The hologram flickered and hidden text began to scroll across the air. What's that? He said. Lyra leaned closer. A code, old but alive. Adrian decoded the signal line by line. Slowly, a pattern emerged. It wasn't just a picture. It was a data capsule containing coordinates. Lyra, he whispered. These coordinates point to a system near the Orion Edge. That's thousands of light years away. Lyra's eyes widened. That is where I was born. Adrian looked at the screen, then back at her. Then that's where we'll find the truth. Before they could speak again, the entire station trembled violently. The lights flared white and the sound of metal groaning filled the air. Lyra grabbed the side of the table. They found us. The Helios 9 station shook again as another impact rattled its hull. Metal screamed against the void, and warning lights flashed all around. Dr. Adrian Wells steadied himself against the console while Lyra scanned the outer sensors. Shields are down to 40%, Adrian said, breathing hard. We can't take another hit like that. Lyra's glowing fingers danced over the control screen. Their weapons are strange, she said. Not plasma, not light, they disrupt energy itself. Adrian frowned. Energy disruptors? That would explain why our systems keep failing. We need to jump now, Lyra nodded. The small shuttle I came in can travel faster than this station. But we must take the coordinates from your hologram. Adrian grabbed a data drive and copied the encoded map from his console. Done, he said. Let's move before they tear this place apart. They ran through the corridor together, the sound of distant explosions echoing behind them. The floor vibrated under their boots. Red light painted the walls like blood, but Adrian refused to slow down. When they reached the docking bay, Lyra quickly entered her ship's controls. The small silver shuttle hummed with life, its surface shimmering like living metal. Get in, she said. As the shuttle detached from Helios 9, a blinding light filled the viewport. Behind them, the human research station was engulfed in flames. Adrian watched in silence as the structure broke apart, scattering fragments into the endless dark. His home for the past 6 years was gone in seconds. Lyra looked at him quietly. I am sorry, Adrian shook his head. We'll rebuild. Humans always do, Lyra's eyes softened. You speak with hope even when surrounded by loss. That is why your kind survived the Dark Ages. He smiled faintly. We don't know how to give up. The shuttle sped away from the wreckage, leaving the burning remains of Helios 9 behind. The stars stretched into long silver lines as Lyra activated faster than light travel. Inside the quiet cabin, only the soft hum of the engines filled the silence. Adrian looked at the glowing map on the screen, the coordinates from the hologram. So this is where you were born, he said. Yes, Lyra replied softly. A world we called Neuralis. It was once full of life. My people sang to the skies and built cities of light. But when the destroyers came, we could not fight their power. Only a few of us escaped. Adrian turned toward her. You said your memories were broken. Maybe these coordinates can help you remember? Lyra nodded slowly. I can feel something calling me there. Something old. Maybe the truth. Hours passed in silence. The stars outside glowed like rivers of fire. Adrian sat at the side of the cockpit, typing on his portable scanner. I'm reading strange radiation signatures near your home system, he said. It looks like there's still energy there, but no signals. It's like the planet is alive but asleep. Lyra closed her eyes, her voice soft. That is how my people describe death. He looked at her with sympathy. Lyra, when humans explored space, we made mistakes. Some of those mistakes might have caused pain we never knew about, but we can make it right now. Lyra looked at him quietly. You would risk yourself for a people you have never met? Yes, he said simply. Because they were part of us somehow. If our DNA helped create your world, then your story is our story too. Lyra smiled gently. Then maybe there is still hope for us. The shuttle dropped out of faster-than-light travel near a dying star. The light from it was dim like the last breath of a candle. In orbit around it floated the planet Neuralis, broken into fragments. Giant cracks ran across its surface, glowing faintly blue. Adrian stared in shock. It's destroyed. Lyra's eyes filled with sadness. It was beautiful once. Oceans like crystal, skies of silver. Now it is only a memory. The ship's sensors beeped softly. Adrian frowned. Wait, I'm picking up something, a structure still intact on the planet's surface. It's giving off a faint energy signal. Could it be a temple? A research site? Lyra looked at the screen. That place. I remember it. The Hall of Origin. It was forbidden to enter except for the chosen. Then we're going, Adrian said. The shuttle descended through the planet's broken atmosphere. Dust storms and flashes of lightning surrounded them. but Lyra guided the ship smoothly toward a large metallic dome half buried in the ground. They landed near the entrance, a massive doorway covered in glowing runes. Lyra placed her hand on the symbols and they lit up, reacting to her touch. "It still remembers me," she whispered. The doors opened slowly, revealing a vast chamber filled with strange machines and floating crystals. The air was thick with energy and faint whispers seemed to echo from the walls. Adrian looked around in awe. "This doesn't look like anything human built. But the structure, the layout. It's similar to Earth designs," Lyra nodded. "That is because your people inspired it. Our ancestors must have carried human memories in their minds when they built this place." They walked deeper into the hall. At the center stood a large device shaped like a star, its core pulsing faintly with light. Adrian examined it carefully. "This looks like a data archive," he said. "Maybe we can activate it." Lyra touched the central crystal. A beam of light shot upward, forming a hologram in the air. It showed a human man in an old space uniform, his face tired but kind. His voice echoed through the room. "To whoever finds this," the hologram said, "we are the last of Project Genesis. Our mission was to spread life among the stars. We sent genetic seeds to distant worlds, hoping life would bloom even after Earth was gone." Adrian's eyes widened. "Project Genesis. I've read about that in ancient records. It was thought to be a myth." The hologram continued. "If you are watching this, then one of our creations has survived. You carry within you the memory of humanity. Protect it. Keep it alive." The image flickered and faded. Lyra stood in silence, her eyes shining with tears. "So it's true. We came from you." Adrian placed a hand on her shoulder. "You're not just a creation, Lyra. You're proof that humanity's dream worked." Life continued. She turned to him slowly. "But if the destroyers know this, they will come for your world next. They believe no one should share the power of creation." Adrian's expression hardened. "Then we stop them before that happens." Lyra looked at the glowing core again. "There may be something here that can help us. The Hall of Origin stored ancient energy patterns. My people used them to defend against darkness." Adrian moved closer. "Can we activate it?" "I think so," Lyra said. She placed both hands on the crystal. Light began to flow from her palms into the device. The air vibrated as the structure came to life. Symbols appeared all around, circling them in patterns of gold. Suddenly, the ground shook. The lights flickered violently. "They've found us again," Adrian shouted. Lyra didn't stop. "I must finish." Outside, the destroyer ships entered orbit, firing beams of energy at the planet's surface. Explosions lit the sky. "Lyra, we have to go," Adrian yelled. She turned to him, her face glowing with pure light. "If I stop now, everything will end. The power inside this hall, it can protect us. But I need your help." Adrian ran to her side and placed his hands on the device. "Tell me what to do." "Focus your energy. Your heart. The machine reacts to human thought." He closed his eyes, focusing on one thought: hope. The crystal glowed brighter and brighter until it exploded in a wave of blue energy that spread across the planet. The destroyer ships above were pushed back, their systems flickering. When the light faded, the hall was quiet again. The floor was cracked, the machine silent. Adrian looked at Lyra. She had collapsed, faint but alive. He lifted her gently. "You did it," he whispered. Her voice was weak but peaceful. "The power is ours now. But the truth has a cost. They will not stop." Adrian, the planet Neuralis was silent, but the quiet was tense, heavy with warning. Dr. Adrian Wells carried Lyra through the cracked surface of the ancient hall, supporting her fragile body. The blue glow of the central crystal dimmed, leaving them in the cold light of the dying sun. Outside, the destroyer ships had regrouped. Tiny specks against the black sky, they moved like predators circling their prey. Adrian could see their faint energy beams scanning the planet. Their intent was clear. Nothing would survive that bore the mark of humanity. Lyra stirred in his arms. Her silver eyes opened, glowing faintly. "They are coming for you too," she said softly. "For both of us. You are connected to this secret as much as I am." Adrian nodded. "Then we prepare. We don't run. Not now." He set her down near a cluster of crystals scattered across the hall. "We need a plan," he said, scanning the area. The Hall of Origin had been designed to store and protect knowledge, and it could be more. Its energy patterns were still active, and Adrian knew human ingenuity could turn them into a defense. Lyra's fingers brushed the floor. She placed them on two smaller crystals that responded to her touch. These can amplify energy, she explained. But I cannot sustain it alone. Your mind must guide the flow. Adrian stepped forward. Then teach me. Together they worked quickly. Lyra focused on channeling her bioenergy into the crystals, while Adrian synchronized the controls to the ship's energy reserves. Every pulse they sent out strengthened the field around the planet. It was a fragile shield, one that could hold for only a short time, but it was enough to buy them a few precious hours. Outside, the destroyers detected the sudden surge. Their ships tilted and faltered as their weapons fired on the invisible barrier. Sparks of energy rebounded from the shield, making the ships hesitate. Adrian's heart pounded with hope and fear. "This is working," he shouted over the hum of the crystals. Lyra nodded, sweat glistening on her metallic skin. "Yes, but it cannot last. I cannot keep it up for long." Adrian's mind raced. "Then we need to fight smarter, not harder. Let's make them think we are more powerful than we are." He ran to the ship parked outside the hall. It was small, silver, and sleek, capable of faster-than-light travel, but also equipped with experimental weapons that Adrian had designed. He began to reroute the ship's energy, combining it with the hall's crystals. Lyra looked at him uncertain. "You would risk yourself." Adrian smiled. "Not just me. Together we are stronger. That is what humans do." The destroyers finally entered orbit. Their ships were enormous, dark, angular. Energy beams shot from them, cutting into the atmosphere of Neuralis. The shield held but wavered under the pressure. Lyra touched the main crystal, her glow intensifying. "We cannot hold them forever. They are too many." Adrian's mind flashed with an idea. What if we trick them? If we create a false signature, they might attack the wrong location. Lyra's eyes widened. "You mean using their own sensors against them?" "Yes. We can project energy patterns to make them believe Neuralis is empty. Then we can escape or take the fight to them on our terms." Together they worked in perfect sync. Lyra's alien energy flowed into the crystals, while Adrian programmed the ship's systems to create phantom readings across the planet. Outside, the destroyers began firing at empty spots, confused by the false signals. Adrian took a deep breath. "It's working," he said, barely daring to hope. Suddenly, one of the destroyer ships broke through the pattern, directly approaching the hall. Its weapons were charged, aimed to destroy everything. "We need to finish this," Lyra said, her voice trembling but strong. Adrian nodded. Together, they focused their energies on the central crystal. Light exploded from it, forming a massive energy pulse. The hall shook violently. Sparks flew and the air vibrated with power. Outside, the destroyer ship faltered, caught in the energy wave. Its hull cracked and it was thrown back into space like a broken toy. Adrian looked at Lyra. "You did it!" She shook her head weakly. "We did it." Together. The shield around Neuralis stabilized. The remaining destroyers hesitated, unsure of how to attack. Their weapons flickered against the invisible barrier. Adrian realized something important. "Lyra, it's not just energy. It's our unity, human and alien together. That is what they cannot destroy." Lyra's eyes glimmered with understanding. "You are right. Human courage, combined with my people's knowledge. It is stronger than their weapons." Hours passed. The destroyers circled but did not attack directly. Adrian and Lyra used the time to explore the Hall of Origin further. Ancient machines lined the walls, glowing softly. They seemed to respond to Lyra's presence. "This place is incredible," Adrian said. "It's like a library, but alive." Lyra touched a floating crystal. A holographic map appeared, showing planets, stars, and what looked like space routes. "These are the paths my people used to travel," she said. "They are hidden now, but still here. We can use them to move unseen." Adrian studied the map. "Then we can escape if we need to. Or plan our next move," Lyra nodded. "Yes, but first, we need to understand the destroyers. They are not ordinary enemies. They seek to erase knowledge. To prevent life from spreading," Adrian frowned. "They fear what we represent." "Yes," Lyra said softly. "They cannot understand hope, courage, or creation. Only control." Adrian placed a hand on the central crystal. "Then we give them what they cannot destroy. We give them life, willpower, humanity." Lyra smiled faintly. "You speak as humans always do. Even in darkness you shine." Outside, the destroyers began to attack again. Energy beams lashed against the shield. Adrian realized the shield could not last much longer. He looked at Lyra. "We may have to leave Neuralis," he said. She shook her head. "No, not yet. This hall—" "It has more power. If we combine our strengths fully, we can strike a blow they will remember." Adrian nodded. "Then we do it together." They placed their hands on the main crystal once more. Lyra's alien energy flowed through her veins into the device, and Adrian concentrated every thought, every memory, every bit of hope he had into the system. The crystal responded, glowing brighter than it ever had. Outside, the destroyers felt the pulse. Their ships trembled. Energy feedback caused their weapons to fail. For the first time they were vulnerable. Adrian realized something extraordinary. "Lyra, we can push them away from this system completely." She nodded, exhausted but resolute. "Then we must. Not just for me, for all who carry the spark of creation." The crystal pulsed again. A wave of energy expanded outward, creating a barrier far stronger than before. The destroyer ships were forced to retreat, battered and confused. Adrian smiled. "We did it." Lyra fell to her knees, her energy spent. Adrian rushed to support her. "Are you okay?" She looked up, smiling faintly. "I am alive. Thanks to you." Adrian shook his head. "Thanks to us." For the first time there was silence. The stars glimmered around them. Neuralis, broken and scarred, still survived. And within the Hall of Origin, two beings, human and alien, had proven that courage, hope, and unity could stand against even the darkest forces. The planet Neuralis lay quiet under the pale light of the distant sun. Its surface, scarred and broken, reflected the faint glow of the Hall of Origin's crystals. Inside, Dr. Adrian Wells and Lyra sat exhausted, their energy spent from the battle against the destroyers. Lyra's silver eyes flickered faintly, and her glowing skin shimmered with a tired light. Adrian carefully adjusted her position, making sure she was safe. "You need rest," he said softly. "I cannot," Lyra whispered. "The energy we released? It revealed something. There is more I must do, more I must see." Adrian nodded. "Then we do it together." "I'm not leaving you," Lyra's eyes softened. "Humans, always willing to risk themselves for others." Adrian smiled faintly. "It's what we do. It's who we are." The Hall of Origin had returned to its quiet state. The massive central crystal now pulsed with a calm, steady light. Adrian studied the holographic map that floated above the floor. It showed Neuralis and the surrounding star systems, as well as faint markers that indicated the last known positions of the destroyers. "They've retreated," he said. "For now." Lyra looked at the map. "Yes, but their numbers are growing. They will return stronger, faster. They will not stop until all traces of creation are gone." Adrian's jaw tightened. "Then we prepare. We cannot wait for them to attack again. We have to be proactive." Lyra nodded. "There is something here that can help. The hall stores memories of my people, knowledge of energy, defense, and life itself. If we can access it fully, we can turn it into a weapon they cannot anticipate." Adrian's curiosity sparked. "A weapon?" "Yes," Lyra said, "but not one made to destroy. One made to protect, to show courage and hope, to defend life itself." Adrian thought for a moment. "That's human and alien together. HFY, humans are special, combined with your power. That could work." Lyra's glowing fingers brushed the central crystal. It reacted instantly, casting brilliant light across the chamber. Symbols floated in the air, forming complex patterns of energy. "The system is alive," Lyra said. "It reacts to thought and will. We must focus together. You must lend your human strength, your determination, your courage." Adrian took a deep breath. "Then let's do it." The destroyers had regrouped in distant orbit. Their ships were like shadows in space, scanning for any trace of human or alien energy. Adrian and Lyra knew that if they left Neuralis unprotected, the destroyers would strike again. Lyra's hands glowed brighter as she directed her bioenergy into the central crystal. Adrian focused on the human element, memory, hope, and determination. Slowly, the crystal's light began to expand outward, forming a dome of energy that covered the planet. "This is amazing," Adrian whispered. "It's like the planet itself is alive." Lyra nodded. "The hall connects to all life on Neuralis. It is a guardian, but I cannot sustain this for long. You must help me push the energy outward." Adrian stepped closer and placed both hands on the crystal. For the first time, he felt the full power of the Hall of Origin. It was overwhelming, energy, knowledge, and memory flowing into him. His mind swirled with visions of alien cities, human history, and the infinite stars of the galaxy. Focus on life, Lyra said softly. Focus on courage. Focus on hope. Let the universe hear you. Adrian closed his eyes. He pictured every human who had explored space, every scientist who had dreamed of life among the stars, every moment of courage in the face of darkness. Slowly, the energy began to respond to his will. The dome around Neuralis pulsed and stretched outward, expanding beyond the planet and into orbit. Outside, the destroyer ships faltered. Their weapons misfired. Systems began to overload. They had never encountered energy controlled by life itself, by thought, memory, and determination. Adrian opened his eyes. Lyra, it's working. She nodded, though her strength was fading. Yes, but I cannot hold it much longer. We must finish this. Now, Adrian understood. Then we do it together. They concentrated fully on the crystal. Light surged from it like a river of stars. Energy pulses shot outward, forming waves that pushed the destroyer fleet back. Sparks of blue and gold cut across space as the ships faltered and collided. One by one, the destroyers were forced to retreat. Their shadows shrank against the brilliance of the dome. For the first time, the enemy was defeated not by weapons, but by the courage, intelligence, and unity of humans and aliens working together. Lyra collapsed to the floor, her glow fading almost completely. Adrian caught her gently. Lyra, stay with me, I'm okay, she whispered faintly. You have done what my people could not. You have protected creation. Adrian smiled despite the exhaustion. We did it together. The dome stabilized, covering Neuralis in a protective energy field. Adrian and Lyra looked out through the shattered windows of the Hall of Origin. The planet below was broken but alive. Blue lights from the crystal spread across the surface like veins of life connecting every part of Neuralis. Lyra whispered, Your people, humans, you are truly special. You fight not because you have to, but because you want to protect others. That is the essence of life. Adrian nodded. It's what we do best. They sat together in silence for a moment, letting the calm wash over them. Outside, the stars seemed brighter. The destroyers had fled, but the hall's energy remained, a warning and a shield for the future. Hours later, Lyra regained more strength. Her silver skin glimmered faintly and her eyes focused. Adrian, we cannot stay here forever. The destroyers will return, but now we have a choice. What choice? He asked. We can take the knowledge of the hall, the energy of Neuralis, and bring it to other worlds, Lyra explained. We can spread hope, protect life, ensure that creation continues no matter what the destroyers try. Adrian smiled. Then we do it. That's exactly what we do. Together they began to prepare the ship for departure. Lyra linked her energy to the shuttle, transferring the protective dome's core into the ship's systems. Adrian plotted a course to the nearest star system, one that had not yet been touched by human or alien influence. As they lifted off, leaving Neuralis behind, Adrian looked at Lyra. Do you think we'll ever return? Lyra